David Isel, we saw the bullet hole that ripped through his windbreaker, right over his heart, miraculously not hitting his body as he threw himself into the path of that bullet, along with Justin Winebrenner. So someone must have plans for Mr. Wolcady, Ms. Imhoff, Mr. Capes, Officer Russell, and Mr. Isel, because they had a brush with death that night and each was spared. One was not. You ripped a man away from this society and you took a devoted son and brother, a proud and caring father, a loving husband-to-be, a loyal friend, a proud public servant, and a police officer. And by all accounts, a great police officer. I have been part of the justice system for many years, 28 to be exact. I have been involved in my fair share of murder cases as an attorney and as a judge. These cases bear many similarities: a wrongful act, the loss of a loved one, and two grieving families. While not personally involved or acquainted with either of these families, aside from this case, I can tell you, I feel their grief. I can see and feel the grief of the Winebrenner family. Likewise, I feel the grief of your family. No one talks much about the offender's family, but I want them to know I see their grief too. I heard it in the mitigation hearing. I'm sure Justin's family did too. But this case is different. And it is not different for me for the reason you might think. It is not different because Justin Winebrenner was Akron police officer Justin Winebrenner. It is different because of the way in which Justin died. I am sure that the values taught to Justin in the police department about sacrifice and service came into play that night. Justin's training was ignited, and the desire to protect others overtook him, I am sure. His is a death the likes of which I have never seen in all my 28 years of working in our justice system. While the homicidal act that you committed was senseless, Justin's death was not. It was sacrificial. Justin laid down his life for his friends. And there is no greater act of love than this. Justin saved lives, and it needs to be said, David Isel, you saved lives too. For doing this, Justin paid the highest price, but based on everything I have learned and heard about him, there's no question that if he were put in the exact same situation again, he would not hesitate. He would do it again. Mr. Ivery, you have made many mistakes in your life, but you have done some good things. You've also been given many chances. I'm aware of the full nature of those chances. I run a reentry court, and I know you were in one. You have the support of a loving family, and by all accounts, two wonderful sons. So much to live for. But you didn't appreciate it. You chose to let a petty disagreement brought on by your own behavior ruin your future. You wreaked havoc and chaos when you marched back into that bar, believing yourself to be insulted and disrespected. What a woefully tragic decision you made that night. Tragic for Justin and tragic for your family. And while you stand here still drawing breath, justice demands that you never again breathe air as a free man. You will never again walk among us as a free man. You will spend your days and nights surrounded by countless other prisoners bound by the fateful choices they have made in their lives. You will die in prison. And while you may be feeling sorry for yourself, remember, you can write to and call and speak with your family. Justin's daughter, Charlie, will never hear her daddy speak to her again. You can make friends and smile and talk and socialize. Justin's smiles and hugs, which we all witnessed him give to others as he entered Papa Don's that night on the video, they are no more. You will be guarded and protected by others, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. But Justin guards and protects no more. You will have a life. Justice is gone from this earth. So for your actions, this court pronounces the following sentence, which you fully deserve. I am bound by the recommendation of the jury legally, the court must impose a sentence of life without parole as to count 1, the aggravated murder of Justin Winebrenner. As to the firearm specification in count 2, the court imposes a 7-year sentence which will run consecutively. Counts 2, 3, and 4, the court is not sentencing on those as the state has elected that they merge and is proceeding only on count 1. As to count 5, the attempted murder of David Wilcady, I'm imposing an 11-year sentence plus 3 years for the firearm specification to run consecutively to the aggravated murder charge. I am imposing, as to the attempted murder of David Eisel, an 8-year sentence plus 3 years on the firearm specification for an additional 11 years to run consecutive to all other counts. As to count 8, the felonious assault of Jennifer Imhoff, I am imposing a 7-year sentence plus 3 years for the gun specification for a total of 10 additional years to be run consecutively. For the felonious assault of Michael Capes, I'm imposing a 7-year sentence plus 3 years for a total of 10 years to run consecutively. For the felonious assault of Thomas Russell, I'm imposing a 3-year sentence plus 7 years for the gun specification for firing a gun at a peace officer for an additional 10 years to run consecutively. I find that the other firearm specification in that count merges. And as to count 12, the having a weapon while under disability, a felony of the 3rd degree, I am imposing a 3-year sentence, which I am running consecutively to all other counts. And counts 13 and 14 I find merge, and count 15 is the count that you were found not guilty of by the jury. That is a final sentence of life without parole plus 65 years. We are concluded. My sympathies with both families.
For the record, note our objections to the consecutive sentences.
It's noted. Thank you. We're going to go ahead and you can remove the defendant.